Welcome to the Lee Michaels Show with Carol and your daily cast of characters, where we discuss the issues of the day, entertainment news, what's really going on in Washington, and the world. Why don't we just hear it from the horse's mouth himself?
We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified. I don't think it's safe to be briefed on national security because the word will get out. I know at some point they're going to be calling, they're going to want to brief me, but I'm not a talker about this stuff. This is like Watergate, only it's worse. Because here, our foreign enemies were in a position to hack our most sensitive national security secrets.
Of course, it turns out the Russians didn't need to hack Hillary's email server. They were able to hack Trump's mouth.
This is like Watergate, only it's worse.
The Lee Michaels Show on the Power of Voices Radio Network.
Y'all ain't ready. You're not ready. But I told you to be ready. You don't listen. Oh boy. Lot going on in the news. I just heard that a young lady in her early 20s has been arrested for allegedly leaking the information that links Russia to tampering with our election. Now, why in the hell would an American be arrested for leaking out information that is detrimental to our democracy? That seems un-a-damn American. A young woman from Georgia working for a private company, some kind of security company. I'm pulling up the information here now. I just got this information minutes before coming on the air. So don't have it all together yet, but we're going to explore that and tell you what's really going on. This is amazing. How in the hell do you arrest someone for telling the truth? Isn't that how we were raised? Didn't your parents tell you always tell the truth? Never lie. Don't cover up a lie. And by the way, that's not snitching. So all you weasels out there that, I ain't snitching. That ain't snitching. This is international, national security. So why is she being penalized? Why has she been arrested? Okay. All right. Before I get too deep into this, let me bring on my kick in the side. My main. Mr. Chris Bass in the house. What up?
Oh, boom, shakalaka.
Ain't that the truth? How you doing, partner?
You got that right, man. I'm doing great, man. I hear you with this story about this Georgia woman being arrested at 25 years old for so-called leaking
you information.
Heard about it. You know, like I said before, look, we're living in strange times. That's just an understatement. And I believe the witch hunt is on because what we're trying to see now is detracting from the actual situation. And the actual situation is 45.
Yeah.
So you got to put on these bunkers, these fears around the castle, so to speak, for them to go after the main person himself, which is, of course, our president.
Well, see, folks, we knew there was a cockroach under the rug. We just didn't know where. But apparently, you like that one? We knew he was there because we saw a bunch of little baby cockroaches running around. So the mother and the father had to be somewhere. We knew it was there. All right.
Doing the mattress mambo.
I'm saying, now they're multiplying. So we're going to talk more about that.
We don't die,
we multiply. Do you have that story in front of you?
Yes, I do. It says here, let me get this straight up here. A woman who worked with records contractors for the federal government has been arrested on charges of turning over a secret document to a news organization, the first arrest of an alleged leaker of the Trump administration. The woman's name is, Reality Lee Winner, 25, Augusta, Georgia, was arrested over the weekend. According to the affidavit, Winner admitted providing a document to a news organization. Although the document and the media company were not identified in the affidavit, the announcement of the arrest came after hours after the Intercept published a National Security Agency analysis that concluded that Russian hackers were able to penetrate an American technology company that works with voter data.
Boom shakalaka.
That's it.
There's your boom right there.
Boom.
There's your atomic bomb. Boom shakalaka. So, while we're kissing up, sucking up, making love with Russia, this to me confirms any question in our minds whether or not it was done. So I pronounce, I make this major announcement. This election is now null and void. It is not legitimate. Start the freak over. How can we as Americans look at this election as being legitimate when it was tampered with? We kind of had that in our fat guts. We had that feeling. But this pulls the wool off of the ugly child, and it is an ugly child.
a very ugly baby.
Ugly baby. So we cannot look at this administration as being legitimate. And I think as we continue to pull the covers back and peel this onion and peel back the banana, we're going to find that more people than we know were aware of this situation and
That's right.
participated. As far as I'm concerned, if anybody that worked in the Trump campaign or that worked in the other campaigns that had legitimate access to the documentation to prove this was going on, then something should have been done then. Right then, and not later. Not now. It's too damn late. We have a mess. As far as I'm concerned, anybody that had direct knowledge of this is responsible for this illegitimate election. Period. It should have been stopped then. So hold up.
That's
wait
right.
a minute. Let's hold up. This is not right. I mean, what is the difference if our country was invaded? Would everything continue to go on? No, you had to stop and fight the invasion. And this was a technological invasion. Russia tampered with our election. Period. End. Over and done. It is not a legitimate election. Because we don't know how the outcome would have been had this not happened. So whenever there's any question or any doubt, you have to do it again. I hear the Staples.
Well, it says here,
let's do it again.
all over again. That's right.
Right.
Come on, Pop Staples. Let's do it. Bring that guitar with you.
That's right. Pop, Mavis, Yvonne, and Cleo.
Yeah, Mavis.
Yeah.
It says here on the CNN, says NSA leak suspect faces hearing on Thursday, so they're not wasting any time.
Why is she being prosecuted? Why is she the bad guy in this? Why?
Well,
What did she do
Like
wrong?
I said, it's the classic plausible diversion.
Why is she going to take the sword? Why is she going to take the arrow in the head? A low-level employee, most likely, she's what, 25? So she can't be no
25, right?
big muckety-muck. She's not the chairman of the board or the owner of the company. She's an employee. She saw something that was wrong, and she made it aware to the media. Sister girl, young lady, what's her name again? Something? Because I don't have
Reality Lee Winner.
Reality brought reality to the politics that we have to live with.
She sure did.
Okay?
That's right.
Her name is now Reality. The reality is the truth has come out. And this young lady is going to have to fall on the sword for this horrible corruption and the tampering with our election. That's wrong. She should not be. She should be a hero.
A shero, you're right. No, you're right. But it just dawned on me just now when I was reading the article. Remember last week with Kathy Griffin, had the press conference with her lawyer, and she said, I did not want Trump to destroy me and my career.
Right.
And you see what he's doing. He's tending his tentacles out to go after this young lady, once again, Reality lead winner, 25 years old, of Augusta, Georgia. So he's trying to destroy anything associated with him in Russia.
That's right. Because the fire is burning his ass now. His ass is on fire. He knows the fire is getting closer and closer to his butt.
Exactly.
Okay, so now he's got to put the fire out and have this young lady fall on the sword. No, that's wrong. Mr. President, you're wrong. Sessions, you're wrong. The Justice Department is wrong. You should be saying, thank you, young lady, for being 100% American, for telling the truth. You should not be penalized for telling the truth, for exposing corruption. You should not be penalized. No. That's un-American. So all you career politicians, you can kiss my ass. You're wrong. You're dead wrong for penalizing this young lady.
That's right.
Somebody's daughter did the right thing, but because she was raised with good values.
Right, and
morals. It's wrong. Exactly. It's wrong that we are raking this young lady over the coals. It's wrong. She should be held up high.
It's a dictatorship.
It is.
Dictatorship first and foremost.
I'm upset. I'm really pissed about this. How do we move forward with honor? How do we react as a country with honor and respect and live up to our values, our morals? How do we tell our children to be good children? Tell the truth. Don't lie. Don't steal. Don't kill. Don't do negative things. And how is this perceived as being something wrong? Because you have some little policies, some little employee policies said that it's wrong for you to expose corruption? No. That's un-American. And how do we hold our heads up as Americans around the world when we go into third world countries and other countries and try to tell them that they're doing something wrong, that we believe in democracy? And let us show you how to put on a good election. And damn it, when we get hit in the head, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to stand up, have a strong backbone and say, this is wrong. And it can't go on like this.
No, see, that's too much like right.
Well, we got to get it right. Get it right. Not later, right now.
Well, I'm looking at former presidents, and of course, just like anybody else, there weren't presidents that I really wasn't in favor of. I mean, I liked Clinton in the beginning, and I didn't like him down the road, especially for us being in broadcasting with the Telecommunications Act. That was the death knell for a lot of us in the industry. So my opinion changed about Clinton. But I was thinking back to other presidents, and certain presidents back in the past, no matter if you disagree with them, they had something about them. Whether the way they comported themselves and the way they did business, or not necessarily policies, but how they were as a representative of the country. So I'm going back to Nixon. Now, of course, we know about Nixon. He resigned and, with disgrace and, from office. But at least with Nixon, and I wasn't a fan of Nixon. I was too young. But the fact that going back history-wise, at least Nixon had great rapport with China. I was reading about that. He had that. Now, I don't give him anything else, but I give him that as a great diplomat for China, his rapport with China. Other than that, the hell with him. But my point is, with this guy, we got nothing. Well, no redeeming quality, no empathy, no nothing.
Well, that's true, but he does have a good relationship with China and Russia and some other countries that we're not, as a country, friendly with, but because it's to his personal empire advantage. Okay?
Right.
He's doing business with the enemies. Getting his trademarks passed because now he's the president. I mean, come on, folks. How blind are you to believe that this guy has your best interests? He doesn't. It's all personal for him. It's all about his own personal wealth for him, his families, his in-laws, etc., and the rest of his poison-ass corporate criminals.
That's right.
Straight up. What part of this don't you guys get? What part of this you think is good for you? How many jobs have you gotten since this guy's been in? The unemployment rate is going down a little bit more. Well, hell, it was going down anyway. He's riding the wave. What has he really done? Now, granted, he has only been in for a few months, but what policies, what plans has he put into place or even brought to the table that make sense? Certainly not the health care bill. Trump care sucks. Trump care is corrupt. Before it gets out of the gate, it makes no damn sense other than for the big guys who will benefit from this. When in the hell is the government that we spend our tax dollars with, we have to pay those taxes? When in the hell are they going to represent us? The people. That's what I want to know. When is this going to turn around and it becomes the people's country? We can't act like, it's all about the people. Yeah, bullshit. Let's call it for what it is. The problem is we've got a bunch of corrupt politicians, and all of them need to go. 2018, November 6th, 2018, however you want to look at it, if you're left-handed or right-handed, that is the day that should be the beginning of the ending for all of these corrupt politicians. The first one that needs to go is McConnell. And the rest of those chumps, all of them need to go. And word to the Democrats, if you guys don't get some damn backbone and stand up and push back on these chumps, these criminals, then you got to go too. There's the message to all of you. And I mean it. It makes sense. You mean it. It's common sense. Wake up. This ain't no brain surgery. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. The problem is our representatives are not representing other than themselves. And our president is a ringmaster for false representation. He is the master of fake news. Everything about him is fake. Fake.
Yeah.
Liar.
Fake. Yeah.
It's wrong.
Shoot. No, I'm just going on some other stuff real quick. As you know, also on Thursday, James Comey is going to testify.
Yeah.
And Trump claims that he won't interfere with that. I'll believe it when I see it and hear it.
Yeah, right.
And Comey, he's about to spill it, man. There's been rumored, of course, that
I got some vomit bags, some huge ones. I will help him. I'll put my finger down his throat to make him throw it up. Everything. Put it out there, man.
Now you won't let him verb, you let him vomit get everything out.
Everything. All the way down to his testicles.
Oh, to his gullet.
All the way. Throw up everything. Tell the truth. Nothing but the truth, so help you God.
That's right.
Expose these clowns. What they going to do to you?
Well, he's about to do it because, look, like you said before, 45 knows that the heat is on, literally, and it's coming. Everything's coming towards him, and he can't run. Yeah. He can put all the blockage in front of all he wants to, but they're going to come from him, man. It's a done deal. And Comey is going to give detailed conversations about his talkings and meetings with Trump because, look, like I said before, I can't wait. That's must-see TV to see Comey get these detailed conversations about 45.
MustSeeTV.com.
There you go.
I like that.
Yeah, that's
It's
it.
got a little je ne sais quoi to it.
Je ne sais quoi. Well, I stole that from NBC back in the day, but
okay.
never mind.
Okay, well, that's good. It still sounds good.
You got to give them credit. But
So-
must-see TV. You know what? It's funny because back in the day, that was their slogan for their Thursday night lineup, must-see TV. So everything comes around full circle. So on Thursday coming up, James Comey testifying in detail about Trump, must-see TV on Thursday.
You're saying must see, not must tea.
It could be both.
Must tea.
Because it's about to get funky up in there.
I'm
I'm telling you.
saying. Oh boy.
Must-see TV is going to be
Must-see.
funkified.
Oh boy. You know what? This is exciting because we need a major shakeup in this country. Not a revolution necessary, but if they don't get it right, it's time for a revolution. The revolution this time will be televised.
I'm him, right?
If not on ABC, CBS, NBC, it'll be on the power of voices in every damn cell phone in America.
Ooh-wee.
Okay? So
That's right.
you can't stop it. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the
Comey
move.
testified before Congress. Yeah, it's about to be one. It
Yeah.
really is.
But, getting back to this young lady in Georgia, reality,
Right. That's right.
reality Lee, what's her last name?
Let's see. What was that? Reality. Hold on a second.
I heard you say the
Right,
middle
right,
name
yeah.
was Lee. So, she's,
Yeah, hold on,
she's
it's,
straight up. She's got my
Yeah,
name.
Reality Lee Winners. Lee spelled
Winners.
Leigh.
Okay, well, she misspelled it, but that's all right.
You ain't right.
It's okay. That's a little countrified, but that's okay.
You give her a free pass.
Yeah, I give her a free pass because she at least has some backbone. She stood up. She saw something that was wrong. It was un-American, and I love this young lady. I don't know her from Adam, but I love her because she is telling the truth. That's what I would want my children to do, my grandchildren. That's what I was taught to do, to tell the truth.
That's right.
When you see something wrong, don't turn your head and look the other way. Do something about it. I remember before I even went to New York, I used to hear people say, when you go to New York, you don't look up at the tall buildings. You look straight ahead or look down and don't pay attention to nothing's going on around you. Well, that's bullshit. That's wrong. I don't care where I've been. I've always been aware of my surroundings. And if I saw something going down that wasn't right, I stood up. I said, yo, leave that old lady alone. What's wrong with you, man? Come on. What are you doing? I'm going to tell your mama on you. and most times they stop. Just stand up. Say something. Don't be scared. What are you made of? What kind of, come on. You're a chump if you let somebody do some wrong in your presence. You're a chump. Muhammad Ali wouldn't stand for that. He'd call you a chump. I love it when he used to call the fighters. It was coming. You're a chump. Shut up, chump.
It's funny. Just to sideways the conversation real quick. I was pardon me. I was saying that about Ali
you got some
recently
socks
because, as you know,
in your throat, man. What's up with you?
I got no. Just let me clear my throat.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, that's cool. I was I mentioned in passing about Ali because as of Saturday, it's been 1 year since his passing.
Yeah, man.
And I mentioned the conversation on my other show that I do about
You've got
Muhammad
another
Ali.
show?
Oh yeah.
What show is that?
Okay, that's a show I do. It's another ensemble show with me and another cast of characters called the Cool Out Radio Show. Airs
And where's
every
that?
Sunday night.
And where?
Every Sunday
can we
night
hear
on
that?
WVON.
WVON.
Okay, start again? Okay, sure. Yeah, I was trying not to give him a plug, but what the hell? WVON.
You won't get locked up for plug-ola, okay?
Okay. I know nowadays we got to be careful, man.
Now, well, I'll stand up and protect you on that, okay? So just plug
Well,
away.
thank you, sir.
No
All right,
problem.
I'll start plugging right now. Here
Yeah,
we go.
because VON needs some help, so go ahead and help them out.
Yeah, I got to talk to you about that off the air, too, anyway. So, I'm starting to need your assistance or something, but I'll give you a call off the mic.
No problem.
WVON, Sunday nights at 10 p.m. Central.
Yeah.
You catch us on WVON 1690 AM, or go to WVON.com, or find us at iHeartRadio.
Right.
So I was doing the gig, I was doing the show, and I mentioned about Ali being a civil rights leader. We don't really hear about him in that regard.
Right. But in
my
reality,
theory,
he was. Sure.
Oh, he was. See, my theory was the following. As some people may not know, when a young Cassius Clay was going for the championship, he was training in Miami, Florida.
Right.
His spiritual advisor was Malcolm X. And Malcolm and his wife, Betty, and their 3 daughters went to the camp and stayed with him for the next 3 months as Malcolm was telling him about the Nation of Islam and the teachings of Elijah Muhammad and Islam. So, as you know, we all know history. He beats Sonny Liston, becomes the champion, and then is given the name Muhammad Ali.
Right.
Unfortunately, that was the time when Malcolm had the 90-day silence, the 3-month silence for saying what he said about John F. Kennedy being assassinated, chickens coming home to roost comment. So he was quiet for 90 days in the public, and he had stayed with a young Cassius Clay to convert him to the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam accepted Muhammad Ali, but not accept Malcolm. And so Malcolm was out pretty much, and that was the beginning feud that he had with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
So unfortunately, after Malcolm was assassinated, the one who had the mantra and the rhetoric and the cachet for the type of education that the Nation of Islam had was passed on to Ali. Because Ali, of course, did not go to the Vietnam War. He went to colleges and universities to speak to students and to the public. He was always in hand with The Message of the Black Man, written by Elijah Muhammad, and had those same teachings. So he took that mantle publicly from Malcolm X and did a very great job at it.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
Very good job. But you know what? He was a wise, compassionate, loving guy, and he had backbone. When he saw wrong, he stood up against it. Not just for himself, but for others. The things that Muhammad Ali did and stood up and fought against, the ripple effect from that benefited all people. Black, white, blue, green, old, young, it didn't matter, because it was the right thing to do. He did it in the name of the Muslim faith, but the ripple effect from it benefited a lot of people. He fought against the wrong, the unjust. So I have nothing but respect for him. Then and now. I didn't like him when he was Cassius Clay. I thought he was arrogant, cocky, and he beat my champion. My champion was Floyd Patterson.
All right.
So when he beat Floyd, I said, man, who is this loudmouth duck plucker, this chump that keeps talking all this noise, making all these claims, and then living up to it? I'm going to knock him out in 2. He ain't going to. I said, who is it? Where did he come from? Who is this guy? So he won me over, man. I had to give it up.
So when did he win you over? So of course he gets on the scene. He's young, he's loud, he's brash, and he's making all these predictions, and he actually, knocks the people out. And if he said round 7, they go in round 7.
They're going down. Or so.
Right, they go down. So as a fan looking at all this and not liking him at first, when did you say, okay, you know what? I changed my mind. When did that happen for you?
Well, I guess it was just before he became a Muslim. He won me over by doing his job. He was unstoppable. He was the champion. He was knocking suckers out left and right. I went, damn. Okay, Mr. Cassius Clay from Louisville, Kentucky.
Right.
Loud talking, fast talking, knocking down. I mean, whew. So I had to give it up. It's just, I used to listen to it on the radio, man.
Yeah, there you go.
I was sitting in the living room because a lot of times it wasn't broadcast on TV. So you're sitting there listening to it on the radio and you're hearing the announcer say, and he's got him against the ropes. And there's the left and the right. And there's the Ali Shuffle. No, well, that was later, the Ali Shuffle, when he became Muhammad Ali. I mean, but the description of these fights, listening to it on the radio, man, you had to use your imagination. and paint this picture of this guy dancing, chasing, running these guys around the ring and knocking them out. He won me over. It's just by doing it. By just doing it. So certainly by the time he got into the controversy about the army and all of that, and he became a Muslim. I mean, I didn't turn against him because of that. I had more respect for him because he stood up for the right, what was right, and his true beliefs. He believed that, he should have been exempt based on his religious beliefs. So, so be it. And I mean, if others have the right to have religious beliefs and that preempts them from being in the military, then so be it. It is what it is. He paid the price, but he came back and redeemed himself, his credibility, and kept knocking suckers out.
Man, he sure did, man. I was watching an interview that he did, of course, years ago, and he mentioned about when he went overseas to get the Olympic gold medal for his weight class. And so he describes the story. He said, man, when I get back to the States, I'm going to change things. I'm not only a black man, I'm an Olympic champion. I'm representing the United States and everything else. And he tells the story when he goes back home to Louisville and he goes into a restaurant. Of course, it was, whites only and colored people still over there.
Right.
And so here he is walking with a new suit, dressed to the nines, had the Olympic gold medal around his neck, tries to order some coffee, and the lady says, we don't serve N-words here. Regardless of his status.
Didn't matter.
It didn't matter, right. And that's when we heard the storyline. He didn't mention it in the interview, but that's when we heard the rumor that he took the medal and threw it into the river.
Yeah. Don't mean nothing.
Right, exactly.
Didn't gain any respect, any honor among certain people. And you know what? That was devastating, I'm sure, to him. With all the time and hard work and effort he put into being a champion, he went to another country. He got more respect in another country. And he came home, he got the same bad treatment, same racism.
Right.
Didn't change anything. And you know what? I am not happy to say, while there has been some changes in this country and the world against minorities of all types, there's still some deep embedded hate and racism in America. And we are seeing its ugly head again. Over the past 2 years, maybe a little bit longer, The Walking Dead, the people who had been convinced to be somewhat politically correct, even if you were thinking hateful things, you kept a lid on it. But that lid has been busted off with our current administration because he made it popular. He made it okay. He made it American to stand up and say hateful, mean-spirited, evil, corrupt things in the public eye. He woke up the living dead. And now we have a horrible, horrible situation. I remember when President Barack Obama was elected. A lot of people were saying it by electing a black man caused division in this country. No, it didn't. What it did was, again, woke up the living dead. Those hateful, sick, twisted people that hate a person because of the color of their skin. It made them say what they were saying. They couldn't take it no more. It was just so unheard of. It was just no way could a man of color, a black man, and some people want to say, well, he's half black. Well, okay, half black man. Whatever you want to, however you want to describe it. He didn't look like the other 43. And out of all the years that we had presidents, this was the first man of color. And they didn't like it. So there was the tip. And then when Trump came around, started running his ugly, nasty, mean-spirited campaign, it made them say, boom, shakalaka, we're back. We're going to make America great again. which means in recent time, in their minds, it was not great because it wasn't Umgawa white power.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. I'm not making this up.
No, you're right.
Now, there may be people out there who would like to debate with me about the history that I'm talking about, but this is the reality. Just like young Reality Lee, what's her last name? I got to write that down.
Your last name is
Winner.
Winner.
Reality. She brought reality to the game. Reality Lee Winter.
Well,
25 winner.
Mm-hmm.
In Georgia, 25 years old, happens
That's
to be a white American, exposed the truth. She didn't make it up. She exposed the truth. Now she is being raked over the coals, arrested, probably going to be prosecuted, and may have to go to jail. America, we can't let that happen.
That's beyond sad, man.
It makes no sense. How do you get penalized for exposing the truth? Isn't there a whistleblower law that gives you some kind of protection?
I gotta look into that. You're probably onto something.
I think so.
There has to be, yeah, because this is asinine, and it's and what he reminds me of being 45. He reminds me of an orange Nino Brown from the movie. I'm sorry. He reminds me of the scene in the movie when Nino Brown played by Wesley Snipes, and he stands up. If I go down, everybody's going down.
That's
New Jack City, because it ain't about me; it's about all of y'all.
That's right.
He's an orange Nino Brown.
Well, the problem is, from the Justice Department, who's running that? Sessions. It's close to him. His pants legs are on fire. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we might find that Paul Ryan's ass might have some smoke coming from it right about now. And some other key people. You're telling me that Priebus didn't understand or know about this? Are you telling me that the leaker of all leakers, Bannon, didn't know something about this? Come on. The biggest leaker of all time.
Mm-hmm.
They're all in this, man. They're all involved in this. Now, it's going to come out. And please, God, give the strength to these investigators. Do not allow them to be part of the problem and become corrupt. I pray that some red-blooded Americans that are in this game to find out the truth, you find it, expose it, and do the appropriate thing. In the name of America, I pray that we will do the right thing. Now, I don't usually get real religious because I respect those who believe in certain things and all of that, but I think right now we need to call on our maker, whoever your God is.
I agree.
And pray on that. Let that be a part of your prayers. If you believe in the higher being of any kind, whatever, I respect you in whatever religion you believe in. I think it's time for America to get down on its knees, or whatever way you want to do it, and pray that our elected officials, our investigators, will come clean and do the right thing. Amen. 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 It's time.
And a woman.
Well, always. I mean, you can't have a man without a woman.
Yeah, speaking of a woman, I need to ask you earlier, where's Carol at?
She's on special assignment today.
Oh, okay.
She's out investigating with the investigators to find the truth.
Rock to rock.
And I believe that if she gets anybody in a room, they're going to throw up everything they got just to make her stop asking questions. You know what? they should hire Carol to investigate people, get them in a room, in a heated room, and have Carol ask questions.
No, don't hire me. Don't do that. No, don't do it. Because all I want to do is, walk around the beach and, make sure I don't, somebody pick me up and put me in a van. I'm too old to be raped.
No, Carol, you're not.
Well, I don't know. And then, here, I date men from age 25 to 80. They had to be clean and, a little money going for themselves.
They have to be in love with cats.
I mean, I don't want... Right, exactly, right. A little man and short bastard, whatever his name is, I just want people to understand that this is what I do. I'm too old to be raped.
Stop. Now, today, on the lighter side of the show, we are supposed to have a series of questions for probably one of our most loyal viewers and part of the Power of Voices network family, Laura Rice. We're supposed to do the Lee Michaels hookup to help her find the man of her dreams. So I hope that she will call in so that we can ask her these questions. So call in on the...
Do you think she'll call in?
I kind of think that she might not. I think she's going, kind of chicken out, because I had a conversation with her after the show yesterday, and she showed some reluctance about doing it, mainly because she thought that we should do you as opposed to her.
No, leave him alone. We have to do Laura.
So I think she's trying to be a runaway child, running wild, but you got to come back home where you belong. I say, runaway child, running wild. You better come on back home where you belong.
And now be careful now, because you get into a heart attack, I won't give you mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. You just had to lay there and didn't take it. Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, well, I would think that somebody, somewhere, would save me if I was having a problem and needed a little mouth-to-mouth. Now, I think Laura would probably give you or me mouth-to-mouth before Carol. I think Carol would just sit there and hold her cat. She would have cat in hand and watch you die.
Yeah.
Yep. I think she's probably listening to us right now and cracking her side. But I know she's like strange, man. She'll just watch you die.
Well, she told you so.
Yeah.
On these very airways, the powerofvoices.com, she told you. She said that if you were to, clutch your heart like Fred Sanford, Elizabeth, I'm coming.
Right?
She would not give you mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. That's cold, man.
That's blood cold. Yeah, that's wrong. That's
ice.
Wrong, Carol.
Yeah.
So, and you would know for sure that she didn't, as I'm laying there on the ground, turning cold. There'll be no lipstick on my lips because she wears red lipstick, that cherry blood red lipstick all the time. So
well, you would know because she's in witness protection and we can't see her.
Right. That's for damn sure. So, yeah, Carol's a mess. I might have to trade her in for a new model because that old model, that Model T is starting not to work out too well.
No offense, but remember back in the day they had those Edsels?
Oh, yeah. We
don't want an Edsel, man.
I've seen pictures of those. That was even before my time. Uh-oh. Who's calling in now? There's that chime from God. Oh, that's Alpha. What's up, Alpha?
Not quite God. Close.
Well, you're the man next to the man. You ain't the man, but you're the man next to the man.
No, I might be 2 or 3 removed because of the skeletons in my closet.
Well, at least you're honest. So what do you make of this young reality Lee winner down in Georgia, 25 years old, is the source of the leak about the Russians infiltrating, corrupting our election process?
Well, let me put it like this. I know very little about her politics, but I'll say this about if she's guilty of what they say she did. She leaked in the interest of her country.
Right. That's called
Period.
being an American. Standing
Period.
up for the truth. The American way.
And they're going to prosecute the hell out of her. Because that's Beauregard, Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions, Department of Justice, the Donald Trump puppet handler.
Do you think prosecuting her, having her the person that's falling on the sword, is a way of protecting themselves? Do you think that they have some skin in the game here?
They've got more than just skin in the game. This is way past an individual leaker, a young lady, 25 years old, who just got security clearance. This is way beyond what she has done. She's not the lethal weapon here. I mean, she's not the poison pill.
Right.
Prosecuting her means nothing, except for to her, and how many years they're going to put her in jail for. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. Okay, she leaked classified information, redacted classified information. So what did she give up? She gave up the notion that there is information that Russia did exactly what we're saying they did.
Right.
And once that train has left the station, they already know that Russia is behind this. And now this is how they parse it. They parse it by saying it didn't change any votes or the outcome. But that's like me standing in your vestibule with a gun. And when I get caught, they go, well, he didn't rob anybody.
Yeah, he didn't shoot nobody, but he was just standing there with a gun.
Waiting on your ass.
Right.
So how, I won't say politically correct, how stupid are we going to get in this Russia thing? Did you see Carter Page last night?
No, I
did
did
not. See
not.
Carter Page on Chris Matthews?
No, I didn't see that.
It was one of the most. It was worse than his. I can't say I met him. I didn't meet him outside of Cleveland. He was the silliest. He was the goofiest looking cat in the hat. If Dr. Seuss could have written another book on him, he met with the Russians, and during all of this turmoil and all this time about lifting sanctions, but the meeting was about nothing. How did John Fugelsang put it? He's the Seinfeld of meeting with Russia. It was about nothing. With what's the boy's name? Manafort.
Yeah.
With Manafort, his son-in-law, the money trail will lead them directly back to Donald Trump. He doesn't have to be guilty of crimes. The mere fact that he is, the buck stops with him. He has to have known. And once you get his taxes, once they subpoena his taxes, he's done.
Why do you think they haven't subpoenaed Trump's taxes?
Well, I feel they haven't subpoenaed his taxes because they're scared.
What are they afraid of?
They're afraid that it's one thing to have them dead to rights, but when you don't know for sure, you're a little more hesitant. And they don't know for sure, but...
Wait a minute. They don't know for sure what?
They don't know for sure that he has violated the emoluments clause. They don't know for sure that he has a severe conflict of interest. They don't know for sure that he's making decisions in the White House that will profit and benefit his business, his children.
Well, how could they not know? Damn it, I know.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
come on.
Look, let me.
You're telling me what
I'm telling you, you're watching white privilege.
Okay.
I'm telling you, you're watching white.
What?
If it had been Barack Obama, he's Kenyan. Do we have proof? No. But our investigators can't believe believe me, they can't believe what they're finding in Hawaii. They can't believe and because he says it 3 or 4 times in succession, the media believes it. Because he declares Hillary a crook and keeps saying it, crooked Hillary, crooked Hillary, crooked Hillary. Wow, he's the biggest crook.
Right.
Hillary's sick, Hillary's sick, Hillary's sick. He's a lot sicker than Hillary. Because he keeps saying it.
Right.
The media will go
keeps buying into it. Yeah, because there's no pushback. There's nobody saying, no, Mr. Man, you're a liar, and here's why. Here's the proof that you're a liar.
Well,
why don't we get that?
Between tomorrow and Thursday, after Comey testifies, there will be a choice. Do you take the habitual liar, the BS artist, or do you believe the lifelong straight shooter attorney, so-called straight shooter attorney? Because he wasn't straight shooting when he allowed the Republicans to put the pressure upon him to go live, to send, let me put it like this, to send the letter to, what's the Chaffetz, and then Chaffetz leaked it within a minute. Within a minute, he leaked it to the press.
Right.
Now, was that classified information? And why is some leaks different than other leaks?
Yeah.
If you're leaking, you're leaking. If it's illegal, it's illegal.
Yeah. I'm just so disappointed.
Don't be disappointed.
Call
it. It's white privilege.
Well, yeah,
it's
but
white privilege.
It's white privilege for some, even. This young girl down in Georgia happens to be white. She's 25, white. But she's going to be used as an example. They're going to make an example out of her. She's going to have to fall on the sword to protect others.
She ain't going to fall on the sword. She's being pushed like Humpty Dumpty. She ain't falling on no damn sword. They're using her. They're going to single her out as an example.
Yeah, well, that's
this is
my
what happens
point.
when you leak information.
Right, that's my point. She's going to be the lamb for the sacrifice. That's what's going to happen. And in reality, the investigation needs to continue on because it's not so important to me, the source of the leak, but the credibility of the leak is the most important thing. Who leaked it? Okay, great. That's a one-day headline. Day 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 10 and 20 is the impact of the information that was found from the leak. Let's stay focused on what's important here. What's important is the facts. If the fact is that the Russians got to information, used that information to impact, to influence, to change the outcome of the election, boom, shaka laka. There is the problem. There is the focus that we need to be looking at. And at that point, as far as I'm concerned, we have an election with no credibility. It's false. It's illegitimate.
Illegitimate election. So what do you do? Do you call for another election?
Damn right.
It's never been done.
Damn right. Just because it's never been done. So what? So what?
I agree with you.
Freaking what? So it's never been done. Do it, because that's the right thing to do. Do it. Just do it.
not just the election. The Supreme Court nominee should be vacated.
Everything
because
that's been done is
everything that he's
absolutely.
done.
It's
should
not
be
legitimate.
undone.
Now, we should have a new election, and whatever the results are of that, whether it's another Republican or a Democrat, see, to me at this point, it doesn't matter. What matters is that what we have to live with is flawed. It's not legitimate. There's too many uncertainties, and there will always be questions about this election. Forever.
That's why I say, anytime his name is mentioned, people say 45. I can't mention. Just say illegitimate.
Well, that's
Forget about 45. Say illegitimate traitor that's sitting in the White House.
well.
We can throw that in there too. I mean, and like we can throw all of it in there at this stage in the game. I mean, I'm all for that too. And going back to reality lead winner, imagine you're at home, and all of a sudden you get a knock on the door, and who shows up? FBI agents.
Yeah.
And they're inquisiting you about this document that you mailed to a news organization, and all of a sudden, you're in custody. All of a sudden,
Right. Got
they write an
handcuffs
affidavit
on.
about you.
They're pushing your head down, putting you in the car, and
Right.
everything short of a red ball in your mouth. That's just
Exactly.
disgraceful.
Everything but. You're not even called a child of God at this point.
No.
Leave it to you to go to gag balls, Lee.
Well, it's a whole different conversation. But just the travesty and the direct horror. And I want to paint that picture for everybody out there, because imagine that was you. And you get this, the invasion of your life, and your life is not the same ever since that point.
And never
when
will
somebody
be.
rang a doorbell or knocked on your door. It'll never be the same after that.
Yep, that's right.
And for record, she was charged one count of violating the Espionage Act. That's the reason why she's in custody at this point. So what I don't like about the whole thing is, like we say, go back to our original statement, falling on the sword.
Wait a
and
minute.
having people-
Did she leak the information to the Russians?
Now, I didn't hear anything about that. No,
of
not
course
at all.
not. She
She
just
leaked it-
leaked
Of
the
course
fact
not.
that the Russians had tampered into the
Right.
information. So
And she
where's the
leaked it to her.
freaking crime?
She leaked it to an online. What was the name of it? Online. What was the name of the group she leaked it to?
I don't know. In the article I read, it didn't say.
Enter somebody.
The Intercept.
Intercept. She
Okay.
leaked it to the Intercept. Now, classified information is classified information, regardless of who you leaked it to. It was redacted.
Okay, did she leak the documentations or documents that the Russians got access to, or did she leak out the fact that they had access or got access to it? Did she give the same classified documentation to
Yes.
this Intercept that the Russians
Yes.
had access to?
She gave she leaked the document. That's how they found her. So
Yeah. Well, see, I mean, if she did anything wrong, maybe that's it. But so what? The Russians got it already. So where's the damage? The damage was already done. So
Correct.
if that's what they're holding her on, that in itself is kind of cross-eyed as well. The fact of the matter is, what she should have done was just leaked out the fact that, hey, look, the Russians got access to some classified information, and this is how they did it. Now, that's all she really should have done. Now, it would have been a follow-up to, okay, well, what did they get? Well, they got some classified information. Now, see, this is where it gets sticky. Well, then this news organization or the Intercept, whoever they are, I don't know who they are. I don't know if they're credible or not, but they may have said, well, look, you're going to have to give us some information to prove the fact that they got to it, other than you're just claiming they did. Now, depending on what this organization did with that classified information, they could be pulled in as well. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really. So if they have access to this classified information, are they an accessory to this situation?
No. She leaked the classified information to the Intercept. The
Okay.
Intercept published it on their website. Now,
Well,
it's out
they
there.
published.
It's out there.
Okay, so they
If
published
she
it.
leaked it,
Yeah, but
if
they
she
published.
leaked it,
If
it's
they
out there.
published the classified information, then they did wrong as well,
what?
right?
By publishing it?
Yes.
No, that's what they do.
But okay, but why is it a crime for her to give it to them? But when they give it and make it public, why is that not a crime?
Because it's out there. At that point, it's out there. And when I say it's out there, if she leaked it to them, she could have leaked it to anybody.
Okay, let me read this from the LA Times. It says here, in its report, the Intercept said it received the NSA report anonymously and independently verified its authenticity. And then the NSA document was dated May 5th, the same day as Winner was charged with copying these documents. Then the document says it's a cyber attack by Russian military intelligence that penetrated one U.S. election supplier and targeted more than 100 local election officials just weeks before last year's election.
So this was May of 2016.
May 5th, right?
Why isn't that a bigger story? When I say a bigger story, why isn't the fact that our election system is so vulnerable and we need to go to a fail-safe system? If that means hand counting, do it. Whatever it means to
Well,
save
I
the democracy.
agree. I agree 100%.
Right.
So here lies the problem, okay? And this is where the Republicans want to have access. They want everything to be outsourced to private industry. Why? Because they have an opportunity to make money. So the company that she worked for was not a government agency, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So why aren't we talking about maybe we should not have private industry involved in our freaking elections?
Right, like Debo in this particular.
Right.
Is that absolutely right? You see, that's why we're fighting on the wrong battlefield.
I agree.
We should be fighting on the battlefield of everyone is registered automatically on their 18th birthday, just like civil service registration.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are things that are our priorities
Right.
that are senseless, and this is why. I mean, the mere fact that you have private investments, private industries that increase the cost for anywhere to 75 to 85%, as opposed to government ran.
Mm-hmm.
And how did they put it? Like the airline, I heard what's the name? He was talking about it. Tom Hartman.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke that with the government operating our air traffic control, it costs 7 to 8 cents less per mile to fly. And when the private sector does it, it's way more expensive. And this is what the libertarian wet dream is. Government shouldn't be in the airline industry. Government shouldn't be in this. Government shouldn't be in that. They hate government, but they all want to be the government.
Of course. But external of the scrutiny and oversight of the government. They want to have it in their hands so they can run amok, get paid from the government for doing a job, and mistreating the employees, stealing the money, sending money overseas, and doing all the things that are not good for America. So I say, it's my opinion that we need more government control. We just need to clean up the government first. We need to get the corrupt politicians out, and then put the control of certain things back in the hands of government, but do it better. We don't need to buy $600 hammers and $4,000 toilets and bullshit like that. Clean it up.
Well, if you can't
But if you-
do that, you can't steal.
Well,
If you can't do that, if you can't do that, you're taking away the right of private industry to steal from the taxpayer.
what they don't have a right to do that. They shouldn't have a
course they
right.
do.
No,
Of course they
that's
do.
part of the problem. That's got to stop. When Trump was talking about, I'm going to go clean up the swamp in D.C. No, he didn't. He didn't clean it up. He polluted it more. He brought in bigger alligators. He brought in the Loch Ness monster. Damn, I can't say that one. The Loch Ness monster on steroids. That's what he's done. He's brought in people that know nothing about various government agencies as it relates to our education, a corrupt person, private industry, pimp mama extraordinaire, Sessions, another crook.
That's how you destroy government. You put incompetence at the head of it. Look at FEMA. Look at, like you said, the DOJ. Look at the Department of Education. Look at the board, Carson and Hood. These get stuck in elevators 2 times a day. What the hell?
Environmental protection, he wants to eliminate. Why?
Well,
So
he
all
sort
this
of-
corrupt
Right.
partners that are in business can put pollution back in the air and to hell with our health. But
Exactly.
if you put more pollution into our water, into the ground, into the air, guess what? You got more sick ass people. You got more
That's okay.
cancer victims.
That's okay. They
So
can die early.
Who benefits from that? The pharmaceuticals, the
Exactly.
medical industry, the hospitals, the doctors. Everybody is saying, hip, hip, hooray, we got more sick-ass people to deal with. Let's just keep them alive for 10 or 15 years, then they'll eventually die. Oh, by the way, let's get into funeral home business. Let's get into business of burying people. Or are they already there? I'm just asking.
Oh yeah, they're already there. They're
So,
already there too.
Your life
Yes, sir,
ain't
go ahead.
worth but so much.
Correct.
They know how to keep you alive by giving you more poisons. Kills one thing, but also kills something else. Well, I'm going to give you these
Right.
opium-based drugs. Don't worry, you're going to feel better. Your pain's going to go away. But oh, by the way, your liver or kidney is what's going to fail sooner or later after maybe 10 or 15 years of taking these drugs. And your freaking teeth are going to rot, and you're going to, don't worry about it. You're on Medicaid, so we'll take care of your teeth. We'll sell you some damn teeth. But they don't care, man. Come on, just fix the freaking
No.
problem. Don't put some
No, they
duct
don't.
tape on it. Don't cut out a section of the pipe and put a little rubber sleeve on it and say, okay, well, this will be good for another 10 years. So don't worry about it. We just put a little extension there in your heart valve, and you're good. No,
Yeah.
that's a patch.
Well, yeah, of course it is. It's to patch. It's to pacify you. So you're pacified through medicine, like you just said. You're given medicines and injections for this, but then something else is wrong with you.
Yeah.
So you take care of that. Something else is still wrong with you. It's a pattern. It's designed once again to keep you alive for a certain amount of years, then expire, and decrease the surplus population.
Yeah.
And as mean as calculated as that is, that's exactly what's going on. And we are not people, we are numbers. And numbers can easily be deleted. So once we expire, let's keep on expiring because, we might have too much overpopulation in this country.
Or the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's some people that believe that there is a conscious effort of eliminating people around the world because the population is too big. And they want to, eliminate all of the non-productive, and I'll say it that way, people that are not in that 1 or 2 or 5%. And the world would be much better in their minds if people who were, sick, mental issues, not, well educated, or part of their master plan, Now, I don't get into the conspiracy mindset, but there are people who believe that the population of planet Earth is too large, and they'd like to cut it down to maybe 3 or 4 billion people or less. So with China, with what, about 3 billion itself, we're 350 million or so. How many people in America will be eliminated in this concept? If this is a real Illuminati movement here.
Illuminati.
Okay, if this is the real deal, if this is really, really what it's all about,
Right.
then what's the value of your life right now, and what is it 10 years from now or 20 years from now?
Well, that's a very good question. And you got to go back and, a case by case basis and crunch the numbers and see what's going to happen if you predict that type of thing. And I think there's some validity to it because, like I said before, everything that we've seen that's unfolding is a business.
Yeah, it is.
Compare it to casinos.
Yep.
Casinos, what happens? The house always wins.
That's right. High odds in favor of the house.
Exactly. So you take that mentality and put it into pharmaceuticals and medicines and things like that, distributing it to various patients. We can't help everybody. We can help some, and then realize, you know what? We have to make sure that we're still protected, and the house always wins.
Do you know?
That's the way I look at it.
Do you know what the Evan Bayh Bob Dole Act is?
No, what is that?
Okay.
Explain it to me.
Evan Bayh and Bob Dole co-signed legislation that allowed private corporations to seize and patent the ideas that government paid research had created. Thus, you have Apple. Thus, you have most of your pharmaceutical companies. The Evan Bayh Bob Dole Act is responsible for most of these big corporations that have arisen. Now, when I say taxpayer-funded research by the government is being patented by special interests in private companies, why is that not picking winners and losers? Why is that not saying government is really responsible for the success? Without government, where would the infrastructure of this nation be? And without the infrastructure of the nation and the unions that drove the middle class upward, and without government, where would minorities be on this ladder? Because government jobs is where minorities took that transportation to the middle class. Because private sectors back then weren't hiring minorities.
True.
And that's why they're so eager to get rid of government, because it lessens the fairness of the playing field.
So what's the solution?
What's the solution?
I know that's a tough question, but we got to deal with that.
It's not so much a tough question. It's a questionable road. It's a questionable road. If we're talking solutions, we have to go all the way back to the basics. If government is what we chose in this country, and government is what is responsible for the rise of the nation, just like you see white boys taking credit for building the country, building the nation. You see whites trying to say, but for their ingenuity and technology, America would never be. Forget about the fact that the Moors and the early people of color is what taught the European Caucasians.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about doctors and medicine, you have to go back to Africa. You have to go back to the medicines that started in Africa by the Egyptians, by the people of color there. The mere fact that
But
now you have a
you're not supposed to talk about that. You can't talk about the facts, because what is taught in our schools. I remember when I was in elementary school, junior high, high school, they were talking about America's history, and I grew up in Virginia, so there was a book about Virginia's history. So we focused in on the settlers coming over and how glorious it was. Very little in that book did it talk about the slaughter of the real Americans, the American Indians. Very little about that. They talked about, well, there was a couple of battles here but it didn't talk about the smallpox that was brought over on those ships that poisoned the Americans, and how we raped and pillaged and took from them, and how we sold or bought Manhattan from them for what, cheap? I mean, little things like that, but it was written in a glorious way, like it was the right thing to do. Nobody was harmed, and here lies America because we came over and took it from them. And I say they came over and took it from the innocent people who were already here.
As they wrap themselves in the flag of the Bible.
Exactly. So there are some people now here, that will acknowledge the facts and admit that many of the things that were done by the people that came over on those first 3 ships, it wasn't all good. It was not. It went across this land, killing natives, destroying the population. And we don't know how many people on the real were killed by the invaders. We don't know. It could have been more people killed here in America, Indians, than what happened at the hands of Germany against the Jews. We've heard the numbers of 6 million Jews that were killed? We don't know how many millions of Native Americans were killed. Who was keeping record of it? They were savages. Who cares?
How about the millions of slaves that were taken from Africa?
Sure.
That died on the way here. Over 80% of them died.
That's right.
And were thrown into the Atlantic Ocean.
That's right. Shark bait.
So when you start talking about Holocaust, you never forget it, all of that type of nonsense. But get over slavery and move on. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and move on.
Yeah, I didn't do it. So what? My ancestors did it. Why am I being penalized? We hear all of the responses, and they're, okay, you're right. But let's acknowledge. No. They're right, because if they're not in that same mindset, if they're saying, listen, don't hold that against me because of the people that preceded me who were white and all of that, I get that. If you are saying, hey, look, I'm not down with what happened, I'm with you to make it right moving forward, I won't be a part of that, then I'm cool with that. Those are cool people.
So why aren't they offering reparations?
Well,
why are they not acknowledging the fact that they did not do it? Their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents did it, and they are recipients of white inheritance. They're recipients of white privilege.
They know that if they pay back reparations to African Americans, that this country would be broke. There's no money in the world. that can pay back all those years of 400 plus years. And once again, you talk about they have to pay everything. This country belonged to us, literally. And that's never going to happen. We know that. Reparations, yeah, when it benefits America. I mean, look, for example, years ago when they had to do reparations for the Japanese.
Yeah.
Now, we apologize, for World War II and bombing Hiroshima. Want to make, but see, that was a business move because they were doing import-export with them.
Right.
So you show good favor, good gesture, and not only that, it's a fantastic way to say, you know what, we're sorry, reparations for your people, but we also do business with you because that's how we operate.
But see,
so it's a gesture of kindness,
right? But see, the Africans
they did reparations with the Indians.
Well, they gave them a little piece of shit ass land and forced them to stay on the reservations
with the Jews.
But see, here's the problem,
and we didn't do it.
Right. Here's the problem, guys. They haven't done it because a lot of reasons, I believe. But what value do we have to America? We don't manufacture much. The motherland, Africa, is not saying, hey, cut me in or cut it out. In fact, most Africans come over here with a certain amount of arrogance and look down their nose at African Americans, people who are born and raised here, as if we're not as good as they are. So there's a lot of issues here that nobody wants to talk about. The reality is you don't have value. You're not doing import-exporting business. So what's your value? So what's the solution? I don't know. But if you gave every African descent a tax break, that would be a good start. If you say, hey, anybody that has any African blood in them, you don't have to pay taxes for the next 100 years. That'd be a good start. It'd be worth something. Is that enough? No. But if you think that the American government is going to go into the Department of Treasury and start sending out checks to people, ain't going to happen. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. Should there something be done? Yeah. What that something is, I don't know. We can come up with 15 or 20 different ideas. Maybe giving some grants to people to help create some commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Free taxes. 40 acres and a mule. Keep the damn mule. I don't want the freaking mule.
Sure, we got that taken away from us, so we can't get nothing.
Can't get the acres or the mule.
Nothing.
So I don't know. I mean, we can go on and on and on and rant about reparations. Should something be done? I think so. What that is, I don't know. What's possible? Like you said, Alfo, if they were to give reparations, it would probably bankrupt the country. Because, I mean, the money is fake anyway. So I guess all they had to do is crank up the press and print out, $10 trillion more. What difference does it make?
Yeah, what the hell? Print some new money.
Give me some Bitcoins, damn it. The other fake money.
I'll take mine in small bills.
Right?
Right.
I'll take it any way you give it. But, and I'm not looking at it as a handout, but, it's my ancestors paid dearly. Should I be rewarded for their pain and suffering and killing? Something. I think something should be done. If first acknowledge the fact that it was a heathen thing to do. Let's start there. You gotta cleanse your soul. Let's cleanse your soul first. Let's say, okay, look, the things that were done to the Indians, to the Africans that were brought over here against their will. Now listen, as history shows, there were some black folks involved in that trade. There were other Africans capturing other African tribes and selling them.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, we did some wrong to ourselves. So that self-hate thing didn't just start here in America. It started over on the motherland.
Sure did.
So we have to acknowledge that and realize that there was some black people that did some wrong in that whole slave trade.
Low down black people.
Yeah. Because what? They were looking to benefit themselves, and they were selfishly, and it's just like the Bloods against the Crips or other gang rivalries. So there were tribal things. Hey, we don't like these guys over here, so let's go in and capture them and sell them off to the white man. We don't like them no way. And we'll take their land and their oil and gold or whatever the riches were in that particular area. So criminals go way back, way, way, way back. From the beginning of time, people began to pillage, steal, rape, rob other people. It started a long time ago. And that's through being selfish. Don't think about the impact that, it's going to have on the person you're taking something from. Oh, they don't need it. We're going to take it. We want to be more powerful. Let's take it. Stealing. Power comes usually from taking. Power isn't given, it's taken. And that's what it's all about. Power. With power, you become more sustained, wealthy. You take somebody else's gold, silver, oil, other minerals. You become more powerful. You have elements to do trade with. So this problem goes way back. This is nothing new.
No, it's not. And you have to know your history, like you just said. Knowing your history, you know how to take care of the present in some way, shape, or form, because not too much has changed. Just, hey, someone once told me, not much change, just the clothing of people, because people remain the same in how they operate. And so you had to figure with certain white people, once again, let me reiterate, not all, but certain whites who had benefited from that, from the times of slavery and things of that nature, and had property, and we were property. You benefited from your ancestors. So all we're saying is acknowledge the fact that your ancestors benefited from our labor, and that what we're trying to do is have some sort of concord or discussion about what can we do to make it right in some way, shape, or form. So maybe before I say about a tax cut for African Americans, that's a start in the right direction, at least show something. But see, once again, I just think government is just too drenched in so much evil that would never happen. I hate to be like that, but it's a standpoint of, once again, we can benefit ourselves and everybody else be damned. Because a certain circle of people, they're a part of that cabal, and they want to make sure that they're taken care of and their family taken care of, and then generational wise, and everybody's wealthy from that certain realm of people. But just the average person who's trying to make ends meet and go to a job and come back from 9 to 5 and look after their children and whatever the case, we're not even, once again, we're not even human beings.
Yeah.
Even still to some degree. We're living in 2017.
Well, you see, the value of the poor and the middle class, it's not that important. The middle class is becoming just as irrelevant as poor people. Think about that.
I agree.
I mean, what has this current administration shown, presented, campaigned on that will truly benefit the middle class, let alone the poor? The poor is, if they could delete the category of poor, it would be done today. Poor folks have no value in this society. I hate saying that. Poor people can become more successful if opportunities are presented to them. Now, there's some slackers. Right. There's some people that just live off the system, certainly. Fix that. That's easily fixed. Easily fixed by having checks and balances in place to find out those that are milking the opportunities to their benefit and not putting back. There are people out there that live on welfare that are fully capable of working, and you got to get inside that situation and get them out of the program. Get them on their feet, be self-sustaining, boom. If 10, 15, 20, 30% of the welfare as we know it, they're giving people, food stamps and whatever benefits they're getting, low-cost housing. If we find that they're not living up to the rules and regulations, then get them out of there. Make them go to work. Create some opportunities. I would think that the majority of the people that are on some kind of subsidy would like to get off. Let's start there. Let's work with those people. Okay, everybody in the room that want to get off of subsidy programs, raise your damn hand. Okay, what can you do? Can you put a nail through a 2x4 and hit it with a hammer? Okay, all right, let's put this guy over here in the carpentry department. Let's teach them some skills, how to be a carpenter. Okay, you know how to do some plumbing work? Okay, put this guy over in the plumbing department. There's a bunch of young people over here that know a little bit about technology. They're not afraid of it. Okay, let's get them into some software development, some hardware development. It can be done, damn it. But are we looking for solutions? Are we putting programs together that can take people off of the subsidy programs? Everybody bitch and bellyache about that. And by the way, the majority of the people on that are white. They're not necessarily Mexicans or Puerto Ricans or black folks. But when you talk about that, what is the image that pops up in your mind? See, there's another one of those untruths.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of poor white folks in small towns, major cities.
A lot.
Yes. A lot. And see, I look at it this way. Poor people in America we shouldn't even be having this conversation. This country is too great, too powerful, too much money, too many resources to have people. And I was driving last night through Los Angeles, and I went through this curve, and I'm not even sure where I was. I want to say it was near Echo Park or somewhere. I'm not sure because I get lost as to where I am, and thank God for the GPS. But there was a street that I was on, and I went into a little curve, and on my left-hand side of that curve, there was a row, back-to-back, close, butted up against, rows and rows of people living in tents. And then I went under overpass, and over on the right-hand side, there was people in tents. In the United States of America, in the great city of Los Angeles, California, there are thousands, maybe 10,000 people living on the streets of Los Angeles. That's just one city in America. Our homeless population is probably the largest in America. How does that happen? Now, I've had debates with people, and they say, well, some of them want to be there. They don't want to have a house. They don't want to be a part of society in any way. Why? Why do they want to be out on the streets? They don't want to be productive. They'd rather live in a tent where the living in the environments that is harmful to them, don't have access to health care, good hygiene. People living out on the streets, when do they get a chance to take a shower? Or where do they go to when they need to go to the bathroom? There's no porta pots out there. And it smells. In America, in 2017, 6,617 people living on the streets in America. I'm not proud of that. And with all that we know, with all the intelligence, with all the technology, in my mind, there's no reason that this exists. Our military vets have to show proof that they're homeless for a year before they can get a voucher to get some kind of housing. And then once they get the voucher, you got to find a landlord that's willing to accept the voucher. And many and most don't want it because they're not getting market rates when they rent that house or room to you, apartment. There are too many government regulations, they claim, standards that they have to provide in these apartments. They would rather put you in a rat-infested, not a safe, clean, well-constructed, with handicap capabilities. They don't want to do that. When they can get market rate for $2,500 for a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment here in Los Angeles, why do they want to mess with this guy who's coming out of the homeless? They don't want to be bothered with you. Too many things they have to report back to the government. So, government, why don't you take some of this vacant land, some of these buildings that are sitting dormant, and build some housing that is controlled by the government so that you don't have to deal with these private folks and get people off the streets. There's tons of stuff here in Los Angeles. Places, buildings, old fire stations, several of them sitting empty for years. Apartment buildings, no tax generation from them, been vacant for years. Why can't we take some of these tax dollars, go in and renovate these places, make them safe, put new roofs on them? Even some of the homeless people that have skills, hire them to do the repairs to some of these places and make it so that they are usable. I'm just using some common sense. I'm no rocket scientist, but it seems like one of many things that could be done. We have resources, but it seems like our politicians are sitting on their fat asses because, hey, they got a roof over their heads. They've got free health care. They don't have to worry about that, and they've got pensions for the rest of their lives. So they're good, but they're not looking out for other people, the people that vote for them and put them in office. Well, I don't give a damn about the homeless because they're not voting anyway. They don't have a real address, so how in the hell can they vote? Oh, well, screw them. Too bad. They're not bringing anything to the table, so the hell with them. But they could. They could. If you got 10,000 people off the streets in Los Angeles and make this a really beautiful, safe, clean city, when tourists come here and don't see people living in tents. And I've had tourists here go, wow, I didn't know Los Angeles was like this. Oh, yeah, it's a well-kept secret. A lot of homeless people here. And it can be fixed. Now, we have a mayor that talks a good game. He talks about, bringing about change and all of that for the homeless. I don't know how much support he's getting from his council members, whether there are funds available or not. But I've been here a little over 2 years now, and I've not seen a dramatic change. And I've personally gone out there with other folks to take goods and products out there to donate to the homeless. Free meals, soap and water, bath towels, first aid kits, clothing. But there's so many people out there, man. You'd have to do it every day in a high level to really make a significant difference. But the game ought to be, what do we need to do to get these people off the streets and get them to be productive? There's a lot of them out there that need mental health care. After you're on the streets for a few years, man, you got to lose your damn mind. Common sense. A lot of people out there are living out there because they can't afford the rent rolls here. Very expensive. And this is a problem in San Francisco, New York, Chicago, all over. Now, there's fewer people living on the streets in the cold zone because you're going to die in Cleveland, New York, Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis. Up there in the cold belt, it's hard to live on the streets. You ain't got enough cardboard to keep that hawk off you. I remember living in New York, homeless people sleeping on top of the vents that come up out of the ground because the steam, the warm air comes up out of there. Survival, man. It ain't pretty. I care. I care about people who are close to the edge. Why? Because they're human beings, just like me. And what's fearful to me is, who knows? One bump in my life, I could be out there. You could be out there. That's a scary thought. Scary. But it could happen to you.
You're right. You're right.
You can't turn a blind eye to it.
No, you can't. And, great observation skills. And, we have to see what happens, because that sounds like more of individual trust. I don't see the government doing that. It would be nice. And I have seen stories where people who have the resources, for example, there was this, I was reading online about this man who got this, I guess he got some old porta potties, whatever, and designed it to the fact where homeless can go and get a free shower and a haircut and shave.
Mm-hmm.
Which is and you're on the right direction. I think, unfortunately, Lee, it's going to be us individually, not the government. So a lot of things we have to look at, we have to do ourselves to help each other, because
that's
if
true.
we keep asking the government at times to help us, is it, like you said before, going to be a blind eye and a deaf ear.
I think some of that is, a lot of it is being done. If it was not for the individuals and some other non-profit organizations, churches, and there were people doing stuff. But I don't see the effort going into what do we need to do to end the homelessness in America? And how can we go around the world and criticize and go into third world countries and help people? We dig wells for good water. We go over and provide medical assistance and all of that. But here in our own homeland, our Americans are not getting those kind of treatments, that kind of access to good health care. Hey, man, listen, I talked about it about a year ago. Why can't we get a mobile shower unit? Not just one. We need 100 of them in L.A. They'll go around and provide showers to the homeless. But see, that's a temporary thing. But I think once you get someone clean, there's people out there with scabies. I had a guy on talking about the skin condition of scabies. It's a horrible thing. And it comes from not being clean.
Mm-hmm.
You got lice, bed bugs, all kind of stuff that you have to be concerned about. But if you can get a person cleaned up, feeling good about themselves, a nice haircut, for women, a little hairstyle, guess what? Maybe that's what they need to go out and interview. Because you can't go and do an interview smelling like garbage, smelling like urine, feces. Nobody's going to hire you. But get people cleaned up. Give them some direction. Help them put together a resume that they can go out and say, well, hey, man, I want a job, but I just don't have the ability, the resources. I don't have any clean clothes, but I want to freaking work. I don't want to be out here on the streets. Let's start with those people first. The ones that says, hey, I want to work over here. Please help me. I need a bath. I need a shower. I need some shoes. Nice underwear, pants, shirt, so I can go interview, and I don't have a computer, I don't have access to one, and I need somebody to help me put my resume together. Let's start with those people.
Well, if it's possible, and you have a lot of people that want to put in the time for it, and once again, the financial resources, that you go for it. And like speaking about nonprofit monies and organizations, I mean, then how many efforts do we have to keep this thing going? You're right, and I think it's a step in the right direction, and it can work nationwide. But once again, how long will the timeline be for funding? That's a lot of put in.
Well, it's got to start. Let's stop talking about, whoa, it's going to cost. Just get it done. This is the United States of America.
Well, speaking of getting it done, you referred to earlier in the program about a questionnaire you have for Laura, and Laura's not around. Why don't you give her a call, man, and get her on the program so we can do this thing, man?
Oh,
No, we ain't got enough time yet. We'll do it tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's
Are
11.
you sure? Well, at least wake her up a little bit.
No, she's a runaway child running wild. She intentionally not showed up today
Oh, I know that, yeah.
so that we couldn't ask her these questions. All we're trying to do is help you get a date. We're not trying to hurt you. Come on in.
No, yeah, go give her a hand.
Alpha, why are you moaning and groaning over there?
because you two are relentless. You're relentless in your quest. You know, we had a few guys they all had the same nickname, but we just added their real name to the end of it. And in your cases, it would be Shit Starting Lee and Shit Starting Chris.
Like, how are you exempt from that list? I admit, I like to start a little shit. No problem. I have no problem in taking that banner.
You know what, Lee?
Because it's
sounds
fun.
like to me?
What?
That sounds like to me when I would go in and say, and signify when people are not calling fat. They go, you calling me fat? I said, I didn't say I wasn't fat. I said you were.
I'm getting a headline here, exclusive. Comey will stop short of saying Trump obstructed justice.
So why is he going?
I don't know. They got to put the full court press on him. He'll throw up.
No, he's stopping short because if he goes in and claims that he's going in and he's going to tell his story, and what he won't flat out say is Trump obstructed justice, because it's going to turn into he's lying, he said, and it's going to go back and forth where the question should be begged. Who are you going to believe? The one with a history of lying, like a Donald Trump? The one with a history of fraud, deceit, grifting, corruption?
Yeah, well, we should be skeptical of Trump because of his history, because of his past, the things that he's done, the bad business practices, the people that he shit on along the way, the people that he owes money to. How many lawsuits is he involved in now? 2,000-3,000?
No, it was 2,000-3,000 before the election. It's
Right.
like 4,000 now.
4,000? How can you be in court around the United States of America in different places, maybe up to 4,000 lawsuits, civil lawsuits? Maybe some of them might be criminal. How in the hell can you be the president of the United States? How can you be considered credible? I don't know about you guys, but I've never been sued 4,000 times. I've never been sued at all. I've fought with a couple of, credit card people and stuff like that, but there were no lawsuits, no civil lawsuits.
Right.
Shit. And I'm damn near as old as he is, so I don't understand. I don't understand how we can consider this guy a cool guy, a good business person, when you got that many lawsuits against you. That means you've been shitting on people. You've been disrespectful, dishonest, hardballing, turning your back on people that you're doing business with. It means that you don't honor contracts. You don't honor the agreements. And yeah, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe some of the contractors that you hired may have done not a great job, but they're suing you. How many people are you suing? Now, we know he loves to sue. He's a sue master. So that being said,
Right.
man has no credibility in my eye. Plain and simple. But he is the president of the United States. How low can we go in terms of standards, expectations, when it comes to credibility, when it comes to honor, when it becomes to moral values? Oh, what the hell? He's just grabbing by the wussy, and it ain't no big deal.
Exactly.
Everybody does it.
There you go. Yeah.
It's just locker room talk. Bullshit. You're a disgusting human being. I don't know about you, Mr. Man, but that's not the way I was raised. And everybody around me wasn't raised that way. But we know how you were raised because your daddy was a crook too. You and your daddy both, when you took over the company, the management company, you were sued by the United States of America and you were found guilty. And you had to pay because you were discriminating against people that came to your properties, the properties that you managed. You were writing on the applications a C for colored or an N, whatever letters you were using. They didn't get the place, but a white couple could come in and apply for that same apartment that allegedly was not available, and they got the apartment.
Oh, yeah.
This is our president. This is the president of the United States of America. This is the same guy that is cutting deals with foreign countries that benefit himself, his dynasty, his children, his son-in-law has access to government leaders to cut deals that has nothing to do with the government. I mean, everything to do to financially benefit himself and his family. How is that kosher? How is that cool? How is that okay? How is that being an outstanding American? You're not going over there cutting deals to benefit the Department of Treasury that's going to generate dollars for Americans. It's not been generating jobs. No. It's selfish interest. Self-serving, narcissist assholes. And it's okay? We're going to sit back and let this happen? No. Stop being passive. Stop being non-committal. Saying, oh, well, ain't nothing I can do about it. That's not true. You are misinformed. There's a lot that you can do. Start with registering to vote. And go to the polls in massive turnouts all over the United States of America on November 6, 2018. November 6, 2018. Register now to vote. And if you've moved, you must update your address with a voter registration location wherever you live now so that you are qualified to vote. So that you will not get pushed back or say that you have to do a temporary ballot and your vote may not be counted. A provisional ballot. You don't want to do that. Let's eliminate the possibility of your vote not being counted in the provisional world. Especially if you live in one of those red states, you're going to get screwed. And we could have Alpha on here talking for a year and a half to explain to you how that works. And we'll go into that again one of these days. So,
Eventually.
well, no, we're going to do it about 15 times between now and November 6, 2018. Maybe a monthly basis. We're going to remind people how corrupt this last election was and how they stole this election and with the help of the Russians. and all the fake news that was put out through blogs and through Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all the other social media outlets, how the messaging was done. And you believed it. You bought into it. You took the okie doke and you voted in a way that influenced the outcome of this election. You didn't know. You were hoodwinked. You were lied to, and the lie sounded good. Some lies sound credible. The liar himself misdirected your mindset. He said, Hillary's a crook. She's a crook. She's a crook. She ought to be in jail. And you said, yeah, you're right. Put her in jail.
She made speeches for Wall Street.
Absolutely. And like you not,
he
don't.
fleeced everybody.
Right.
He wasn't making speeches for Wall Street. He was just fleecing everybody out of their money. His scams.
That's right. Now he's turned his corruption up to 5 levels higher.
Oh, please.
Because who's going to argue with the President of the United States? We the people. We have that power. We can change the outcome of what's going on now by participating in the process. If you don't, if you sit around saying, well, it ain't going to make no difference, my little one vote, okay. Well, see, if there's 5 million people out there saying that stupid shit, then you're right. It's all about the math. It's numbers. If you believe that your vote don't count, there's probably other people out there that believe that same way. Now, if the numbers are significant enough, it does matter. It will change the outcome. So let's get that mindset out. Delete that from your brain and saying my vote won't count. Yes, it will. Try it. Try it. If you've never voted before, shame on you, but let's do it this time. November 6, 2018. Be ready to vote. I'm not telling who to vote for, but vote. I'm not going to sway you in any direction one way or the other. If you think things are wrong now, then vote the other direction. If you voted for the way things are now, maybe it's time for you to have a change of heart, change of mind. Maybe you need to vote the opposite this time. Keep in mind, your government is controlled by one party. All 3 levels of the United States government is controlled by the Republicans. That, my friend, is not a good idea. I would say the same thing if all 3 branches of the government was controlled by Democrats, because that gives an opportunity to one party to become more corrupt. I think a balance is what we need. If everybody's playing the right game, if everybody's committed to serve the public interest, to serve the people that voted you in, then we'll have a nice, clean government. Then we can move forward. Then America will be at its greatest. We are great, but we have some issues. And let's clean up the House. Let's clean up the Senate. And let's get this monkey in the White House on the road of getting the hell out of town. ASAP. This investigation is moving forward now. I hope that the investigators will have backbone and stand up against the wrong and expose it and do the right thing. And this poor 25-year-old girl, Reality, that's her name. She brought reality to the game. She should not be prosecuted. Thanks for tuning in today. Thank you, Chris, Alfo. It was a guy's day. No girls.
There you go.
I'm not proud of that because I like my girls to be here. Shut up with that little cynical laugh.
Shit started leaking.
Everything will be all right. I'll come back tomorrow.
All right. Have a wonderful day. I love you. Tell somebody you love them and take care of somebody that's down on their luck. Okay? Yeah, give them a hand out. I said it. Let's do the right thing. Peace and love, America. I love you. But let's get better. Bye-bye.